Hi, Earl Howerton here, resource officer at North Central High School, your resource officer, and I'm here today to talk to you about vaping. There has been an increase in vaping at North Central High School and other places, other schools throughout Spokane, and it's become epidemic. Fact is, having a vaping device or using a vaping device on school property is pretty much the same as smoking on school property. It's illegal. So the facts are this: vaping and vaping devices are illegal for persons under the age of 18 to use or possess. And with vaping devices, anything, the juice, the cartridges, the atomizers, the batteries, all of that, it's illegal for a person under the age of 18 to possess. In January of 2020, that's just a few short months away, vaping devices are going to be completely illegal for those under the age of 21, including tobacco. And if you didn't know, federal law, state law, county law, city law, and school policy all cover these topics concerning tobacco and vaping. So, did you know a minor who's caught in possession of tobacco or vaping components or products is subject to civil penalties? It's considered a Class 3 civil infraction. It comes with a fine of $103. For persons who are 16 and 17 years old right now, that means that a resource officer or a police officer or a person with a police commission can write you a ticket, just like a traffic ticket, for possession of tobacco products or possession of electronic cigarettes or vaping products. And you would have to then make a court date and appear before a judge and explain why you, under the age of 18, are in possession of these things. And he would be able to assess you a fine of $103. If you are 15 years of age or younger, a resource officer, police officer, person with a police commission can arrest you on that. It's kind of a technical term, arrest. He would write a report. He would turn you back over to your parents, confiscate all your products. That report then goes to juvenile court. Juvenile court would then contact your parents and tell you when to appear in court before a judge on that charge. You're subject to a fine and or community service on that. For all students that are caught vaping while on school grounds, there's also school discipline. That can start with 3 days of in-school intervention, a vaping packet, a drug or tobacco assessment, and it only gets more severe from there if you're caught a second or a third time. If you're caught a second or a third time, you may also be subject to the resource officer, myself or another resource officer, issuing you a ticket or referring you to juvenile court for possession of vaping products or tobacco products. Another piece of this are vaping fluids that contain THC, which is derived from marijuana. It's illegal for anyone to possess marijuana or marijuana products such as THC or vaping fluid with THC in it if you're under the age of 21. You can get disciplined for that from school. You can also get arrested for possession of marijuana for that. It's not what we want to do, but there's things we have to do to get this epidemic of vaping down. North Central High School has a zero tolerance policy towards tobacco use or vaping on school grounds. State law covers this, federal law covers this, like I said before, school policy covers this. Recent news events have revealed that vaping is hazardous. There are hundreds of people now diagnosed with lung disease directly related to vaping. They don't know exactly what the cause of it or how vaping is causing this.
Right now, the CDC is warning people to avoid vaping until it can figure out what is causing hundreds of cases of lung disease. All of the patients have a history of using e-cigarettes. So far, more than 20 people have died.
They're surmising that perhaps it's the oil. Did you know that the vaping fluid's base is a solution called polypropylene glycol? Yeah, you know what that's from? That's antifreeze. You put that in your car. The bottom line is we're trying to get ahead of this vaping epidemic. It's not good to vape. It's a health problem, it's against the law, and it's against school policy. So please, think about it. And hopefully when you think about it, you'll not do it. That's all I have to say on the matter. NC, we'll see you around.
Disturbing increase in severe lung illnesses possibly linked to vaping.
Federal health officials are investigating some 150 cases, mostly in adolescents and young adults. Dr. Max Gomez here to tell us the most common seems to be e-cigarettes. Doctor.
That's right, and the very e-cigarettes that were thought to be a safer alternative to smoking. You know, vaping was originally touted as a way to wean a smoker off cigarettes by giving them the same nicotine hit they'd get from smoking. Then fruity flavors were added to the nicotine, and teens got into vaping.
I could just feel my heart just pounding out of my chest, you know, going 100 miles an hour.
For 10 days, machines kept 17-year-old Tristan Zofield alive, while doctors tried to determine why this formerly healthy athletic teen's lungs were failing.
The day they intubated him was probably the worst day of my life. They did the x-rays. It was completely cloudy all the way through the lungs.
After multiple tests yielded no clear diagnosis, doctors concluded that Tristan's vaping habit, which his parents didn't even know about, might be responsible.
I was introduced to it at 8th or 9th grade, so I've been doing it for a couple years now.
He caused enough irritation and damage to his lungs that he actually ended up with scarring in his lungs.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration are now reporting a much larger cluster of pulmonary illnesses possibly related to e-cigarette product use, or vaping, primarily among adolescents and young adults.
There has been an astronomical increase of teens and young adults who are using e-cigarettes. We're also seeing a lot of teens with use that implies that they have very high levels of addiction.
The CDC says no specific vaping product has been conclusively linked to all the illnesses. In a statement to CBS News, leading e-cigarette manufacturer Juul says it's monitoring these reports, and we have robust safety monitoring systems in place. Reporting also suggests the teenagers were vaping both nicotine and THC, a Schedule I controlled substance that we do not sell. The CDC says in many cases, patients did tell health officials they had recently used vaping products with THC, an active ingredient in marijuana, in addition to traditional e-cigarettes with nicotine.
The major point that I would like to get across to parents is that e-cigarettes are not safe. We're seeing some very, very concerning health effects, and we really don't know exactly what the long-term data is going to show.
You know, it's a common misconception that vaping is safer than cigarettes because it doesn't contain the tar and numerous other carcinogenic compounds in cigarette smoke. Truth is, we don't know if vaping is safer because the many compounds in electronic vapor haven't been well studied. It is all too new. And so if you don't know what's in there, stay away.
Can't be good?
Can't be good for you.
No.
Can't be good for you.
Thank you.
All right,
Lungs weren't meant to inhale that stuff.
No. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Max.